Now in this video we're talking about mixing and mastering. I'm going to explain what you do at each stage and what the main differences are between the two, so don't go anywhere. Hi there guys, and welcome to the final video of this series, the 7 key elements of music production, where we'll be talking about mixing and mastering. Now these may or may not be terms that you're familiar with, and either is absolutely fine. Now I'm going to explain the difference between the two, what the aims of the two different practices are, give you a brief overview of what you're aiming to achieve with each, and I'm going to put you onto a guy who teaches these very well on a different channel if you want to take your learning to the next level. Now first of all, you've got mixing, which can be summarized in just one word: balance. So once you've compiled the building blocks of your song and are happy with how the elements fit together, you need to balance out all of the elements. In order to do this, I recommend downloading a WAV or MP3 of a professional song that's similar to the sound that you're trying to achieve, put it onto an audio track in your project, and then flick between the two when you're working through these steps. It really gives you a clear guide of what you're trying to achieve. Firstly, you need to balance out the volumes of each individual track in your song. In order to do this, pull all of the volume faders down to 0, and starting with the drums, bring each track up one at a time so that the volume balances out nicely. Now when you've balanced out the levels, what you need to do is balance out the frequencies. There are lots of frequencies that don't need to be in there that cloud up the sounds that you want to hear, and you can also boost the sounds that you do want to hear in this stage. You do this by using an equalizer. Now an equalizer, or an EQ, is one of the most powerful tools you have, and it's very similar to what you would have had on a graphic radio with bass, mids and treble. The other thing that you need to control is dynamic range, which is done using compression. Now let me break that statement down for you. Let's take a vocal recording for example. The difference between the quietest parts and the loudest parts is really quite big, and you need to even that out. You do so using compression, which is basically an automatic volume fader, which makes the quieter sounds louder and the louder sounds quieter. As I say, it's all about balance. Now, I'm going to link up some videos in the description below to a channel called The Recording Revolution, because Graham, the guy who runs that channel, shows you how to use EQ and compression brilliantly. So at the end of the video, I'll direct you over there. And lastly, you'll want to make your track sound like it's all happening in one space. The way that you do that is by adding reverb. And this is really quite simple in Ableton. It's actually already set up for you. So if we go over and have a look, here you have a track with a reverb plugin already on it. And what you can do is send audio from any track to this reverb track using send A. Then you're going to hear reverb on the sound that you've just turned the dial up for. Now I definitely recommend going easy on the reverb, because too much reverb can sound very amateur very quickly. Now let's move on to the final stage of making a song before it's released, which is mastering. Now once you're happy with how your mix sounds, you export it from your DAW, which gives you an audio file of that song, normally in a WAV file or a WAV format, which is so much better quality than MP3. You then take this file, put it back into Ableton or whichever DAW you're using, and apply some finishing touches to the track as a whole, as opposed to the individual elements. Now the main aim of mastering is to make sure that the track sounds as good as it can on all playback systems, like headphones, laptop speakers, all the way up to high-end speakers. Another aim of mastering is to raise the overall volume of the track so that it doesn't sound too quiet compared to other tracks, as an unmastered track will almost always sound quieter than a mastered track. It employs subtle use of EQ, compression, and other tips and tricks that make it a fully polished song that's ready for release. So here's a table to really summarize the key points of mixing and mastering and the differences. So mixing is the first stage, and then mastering is the second stage. The aim of mixing is to balance out all the tracks individually, and you make more drastic adjustments and edits to each individual element, whereas mastering comes after mixing, and you're really just trying to make the track sound good on all playback systems. You're going to be making subtle, final finishing touches to the track as a whole. So, that's mixing and mastering, the final part of this 7-part series, the 7 key elements of music production. Now, if you've got any questions at all about anything that we've covered in this video series, then feel free to get in touch via Facebook, email, or right here in the comments on YouTube. Now, one of the best ways that I can recommend staying motivated for learning a new skill like this is getting a friend involved, and one of the ways that you can do that is hit the share button on this video just below on mobile or desktop, ping this video over to them with a little message along with it and just say, this is what I'm trying to learn, come and learn it with me, it's been real fun so far and I think you'd really enjoy it. Now, if it's your first time here or you haven't done so already, then I'd love to have you subscribe so that I can keep you in the loop about what I'm doing to help you learn music production from the ground up. So whether this is the first video of the series that you've watched or you've been here from start to finish, I just want to say a massive thank you. I really appreciate you spending your valuable time with me, and I really hope you've taken something from it. I always love hearing from you guys, and I really want to hear how you got on with this series, and if there's anything else at all that I can do to help you, then just drop me a message. Until the next time, I've been John Holt with The Audio Journey. You take care.